me today to learn just a little bit about living in the present as a mom in executive leadership. I know your time is valuable, so I like to keep these trainings short, brief, but packed full of information that hopefully you find valuable. This was the winning topic in our group this week. Every week I like to put out a poll to see what you all would like to hear about, and this was the winner. So hopefully you will find this valuable, that you'll take a few minutes to just breathe and set your intentions and get ready to kind of settle in for this brief training. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Alex Stark. I'm a licensed therapist and an executive burnout coach for moms in executive leadership roles. I'm also a mom myself. I have 2 businesses and I have held various leadership roles throughout my career. I like these to be interactive if you can, so if you wouldn't mind putting a like, a comment, a little heart, anything so you can kind of let me know that you are listening. If you're listening to this as a replay, go ahead and just type replay in the comments and let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what resonated with you. My goal is always to provide you with quality information and information that you can use as a takeaway. So let's talk a little bit about what exactly it means to be present. Being present means being in the here and now, your body, your mind, your thoughts, all the things that you are here right now in this very moment, without thinking about what happened yesterday or what's supposed to happen next or what's next on the to-do list or the agenda. It's right here, it's right now. And there are so many benefits of being able to do this. I know that it sounds hard, super hard, especially being busy, being a mom, being in executive leadership. It almost sounds impossible to be able to slow down and live in the present, but there are so many benefits. And I do have notes down here, as always, so if you see my eyes looking down, I'm just making sure that I'm covering everything I wanted to cover. So it allows us to live more fully. It allows us to really enjoy what we're doing now. We're not always worried about the next best thing. There's a lot less ruminating. Ruminating means a cycle of thinking about the same thing over and over and over without too much of a productive decision. Less of cycling thoughts, so not kind of that churning of your brain, just that chaotic brain. It's less of that. Your brain and your body and your mind feels calm. Less decision fatigue, so you're not fatigued by constantly making tough decisions and having to think over and over and over about all of the decisions. We really get to enjoy moments in our lives, whether they be work or with the kids, rather than getting stuck in either the planning phase or the I could have, should have, would have phase. We have better mood regulation, more energy, less emotional distress, less distress in the workplace. We become better parents and better leaders. There was a 2016 study that came out by the American Psychological Association, and their study determined that, as simple as this sounds, that people who are more present in their lives are happier people. And I know that sounds pretty basic, and I'm sure that there's lots of other factors that go into that, but learning what present is and how to be present can be huge. It can make a huge difference. I know for me, when I learned how to do this, it was a total shift in thinking. I was able to be more calm and really kind of enjoy the things as they came to me. I'd love to know, a little bit about your experience. What's it been like for you? What unique challenges do you have when it comes to being present? Okay, let's talk a little bit about why it's so hard to be present and what we can do about it. So one of the biggest predictors in not being present and not being mindful is distraction. When we are distracted, emotionally, physically, with too much going on, our brains become chaotic and muddled, and they move too fast, and we don't have a chance to catch up, and we don't have a time for our brain to rest, and we always feel like we're going. So let's talk a little bit about how to get rid of those distractions and what that looks like practically. So if we're talking about two things here, we're talking about living presently as a whole, yes, but that's later down the line. When you're first starting out trying to live presently, you probably want to break it up a little bit into what it looks like to be present at work, and then what it looks like to be present at home. So how do we remove the distractions from those two things, remove the barriers, so we can start to live a little bit more present in both of those spaces? So let's talk a little bit about work first. So what does it look like to remove distractions at work? Distraction-free work mode, what does that look like? It means when you're at work, when you're doing the things you need to do, you're making sure that your environment is capturing that space, right? So door closed, headphones on, notifications silenced. You don't have to have all the windows open at once. Work on one thing at a time. The idea of multitasking, although some people think that it's the only way to get things done, actually makes us way less productive in the workplace. We don't have to be doing 50 things at once. You can try, but you're not going to do them well, and you're going to leave the day, and your brain's going to feel like all over the place. So my suggestion in the workplace is to have a distraction-free place of work. If you can't, if you can only do pockets of that throughout the day, that's fine too. Even little things like closing your door or giving yourself time blocking is really helpful for this. So removing the distractions for 40 minutes you're working on this, then 30 minutes you're moving to this, then maybe you have to go back to the thing. And I know that sounds like kind of a lot of planning, but when you're able and focused to do one thing at a time, you will be more productive, more functional. You'll be more present in the task that you're doing, and it will feel better when you're in the middle of that task. Also, managing your to-do list in a really realistic way. There's no way we can do 25 things in a day. So prioritize and pick 3 main goals every day. 3 main goals, and whatever little things go along with those goals, but you're going to want to do no more than really 3 main projects, 3 main tasks. That's really the best way to be present in that space. Also, monitor your mind wandering. Interesting stat that came out that 50% of our time is spent on tasks that we're not supposed to be doing, or that don't engage us, and we know what kind of we need to do to stay present. So that what that would look like is, let's say you sit down at your desk and you say, okay, I'm going to respond to this email. Well, you open your email, and then you start reading other emails, and then you start thinking about all the other emails that you have to send, and then you open the internet, and then you look at, something else, and then you stop by a colleague's office, and then you take a break, and then you answer some phone calls, and then 45 minutes have gone by, and you haven't quite sat down to that particular task that you're supposed to do. So this is a retraining of how we work and a retraining of how we think about work. There's a method called the Pomodoro method that's pretty helpful for this. So what that looks like is setting a timer and taking all of those suggestions that I just mentioned and applying them to like a 5-minute period. So you're retraining your brain to be focused, to be mindful, and to be present through these techniques, and you're going to do it for 5 minutes, right? Because we can't go from how we live now to all of a sudden we're, practicing meditation 45 minutes a day, every day. That's not realistic. Again, it's about realistic goals and sustainable goals that fit into your life. So try it for 5 minutes. Try that for a week. Next week, go to 15 minutes. As you see that you can do it and that you're liking the results and you're liking how productive you feel and how focused and clear you feel when you're doing this, you're going to keep extending the time. So it's just a way to train your brain to look and feel and approach your work in a little bit of a different way. And again, this is going to be helpful to manage moods, to manage stress, and to manage distractions. There's also a lot of productivity tools that are out there now that can kind of take away a lot of what we used to have to do. I'm talking about lots of AI tools. I'm not going to go into them today. I could potentially do a training on them maybe next week. But there are absolute ton of tools that are out there now that can really help you be more productive and more focused, because it's removing things that used to take a really long time. These take up a lot of time during our day. This has been around for a while, but If you're not using a meeting booking link in your life for people to book meetings with you, that's really a great place to start. There should not be, you shouldn't be sending 15 emails back and forth about how to, what day and time a meeting works for everybody. It should be booked on the link and be done. Calendly is a good example of that. So what exactly does it look like when you can remove distractions, be more mindful, and be more present in the workplace? You're more focused, you are more productive, and you become a better leader because your team will recognize that you are more mindful and you have clear thoughts and a clear vision, and they will want to do that as well. So then you have an entire team of people who are kind of on the same wavelength, and it really makes for a beautiful kind of culture experience in the workplace. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some strategies to do this in general, and then we'll kind of talk about the mom piece after that. So strategies to be more present in general look like noticing your surroundings. So that means that we're removing those distractions, we're noticing what's happening around us, we're intentionally looking at what color is the paint on the walls, and what does that tree look like outside, and what's the temperature feeling like today, and how is this showing up for me, and what did it feel like when I talked to that person today, instead of on your phone thinking of the next thing, on the computer thinking of you're in one meeting and you're halfway removed because you're already thinking about what's happening next. So this is going to kind of bring you back to the here and now, bring you back to your surroundings, and it doesn't have to be this really large thing you're noticing. It could be, like I said, paint color on the walls, the temperature in the room, how many people are in the room, what the furniture looks like, what the furniture feels like as you're sitting on it. It's really a way to ground you and bring you back to what's happening right now. Another kind of general strategy is practicing gratitude. There is a part in your brain that when it's developed in practicing gratitude frequently, it cannot revert back to being filled with kind of chaos and dread. So it's really a protective mechanism in our lives that if we're front loading that gratitude, it's actually challenging to kind of go back to the way that the old thinking method. So what that looks like is, let's say you've got back-to-back meetings. So instead of rolling into that day like, wow, I can't believe this is awful, I have so many meetings, how am I going to get through this, what a day, oh my gosh, like, this is going to be awful. It's like, I'm proud to say that I lead a team that is excited about what we're doing, and we've got a lot of work to do, but I'm going to kind of go into this being thankful that I have this role in my life. I've worked very hard to get here, and I'm going to be I'm grateful for the opportunity to lead this team. So yes, it's a shift in thinking, yes, it's a shift in how we approach work, but again, that overarching view of being grateful that we have this this opportunity. We can use the same thing with our kids, right? Also, mindfulness meditation. Don't have a ton of time to go into that today, but learning mindfulness, learning meditation is life-changing. I did it myself, and it really helped me it helped me kind of apply all of these things I'm teaching you and telling you about today. It's helpful to calm your space. It's helpful to keep you grounded. It's helpful to do during the day. There's lots of different methods. I'm happy to do a training on that some other time, and we can talk through some of those strategies, but mindful practices throughout the day. Even something short like a brain break, which is an intentional break in your day where you're completely kind of shutting down, deep breathing, even putting your head down, closing your eyes, setting intentions throughout the day, huge. Having a positive support system is a really huge way to keep you present. You don't have to do everything on your own. You don't have to do it all on yourself, so lean on the people who are close to you. Lean on the people that you trust, whether that's a caregiver or a partner, or a colleague, or a mentor, or a therapist, or whoever you have in your circle, lean on them. That's a really great way to kind of stay grounded, stay present, stay positive. Breathing techniques are huge. A lot of times we are running around so much during the day that we forget to breathe. Not in a way that, breathing is obviously keeping us alive, but breathing intentionally. A lot of times we take really short, quick breaths during the day because we're running around and doing so many things, and we don't get as much oxygen as we need for everything to be kind of flowing and functioning and keeping calm. That's a lot of times why our parasympathetic nervous system is on high, and there's that sometimes feeling that just rush of energy or that like rush of anxieties. We have to be able to calm our nervous system to get us at a good baseline so that everything is functioning the way that it needs to function. And breathing techniques are huge for that. So one really quick one that I can show you that works, that actually it works for kids also, so you can show your kids this one, is just the hand technique. So you put your hand up and you take your finger and you just run it along your hand, and as you're going up, you're breathing in, stop and hold, and then out through your mouth. In, hold, out through your mouth, in, hold, out through your mouth. So you're going to want to do this a couple times, back and forth. It's just a really good visual, tactile way to show you some deep breathing and to get that kind of going for you. Another thing that we can talk about is acceptance. So acceptance that, a lot of times things are the way that they are. There are some variables in our lives and in our work and in parenting that we can control, but there's also a lot that we can't. So accepting that the things that we can't control are going to stay that way, and we can't control them, but we can control how we respond, we can control how we react, and we can control, how much emotional energy we put into those things. And acceptance is a really great way to stay grounded, stay present. I know this sounds like a lot, and I know it sounds like potentially impossible because of the demands that that are placed on executive leaders and on moms. But I promise you, this is doable. I've done it myself. I've seen a lot of women really come through this and be happier, more present, and more kind of just open to this way of thinking. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like at home, being present at home with kids. When you've come home, you're done with work for the day, what does that look like? It looks like not all time with your kids has to be perfect. So allowing yourself to be present and mindful with your kids when you get home from work, not feeling like it has to be the perfect situation, you don't have to cook the perfect dinner or provide the activity or make sure that you have something planned or anything like that. They just want you there with them, one-on-one or one-on however many kids are in the home. They don't care. They don't want you to be perfect or they need that. They just want you to be there. So ensuring that you have kind of whether you work from home or in the office, I always suggest like a dedicated transition time. So a time that you can close up for the day, close the office. Even if you work from home, what does that look like? So I have, in my life, I have kind of an opening and a closing routine. So when I'm opening, I'm kind of clearing off my desk. I'm getting, my coffee, my water, all my drinks ready for the day. Kind of setting up, making sure my technology works, making sure, everything's where it needs to be, making sure that your camera looks good, everything's great. And then I'm making sure that I'm sitting down and ready for my day. I look at my calendar, look at my schedule, and I'm making sure that I'm leaving myself about 5 minutes when that's all done before I actually start. So during that 5 minutes, I'm doing some deep breathing, doing some intentions, making sure that I'm pretty clear on what's happening for the day. And then again, when my day's over, I kind of have a similar closing schedule where I'm clearing off the desk, putting my cups in the dishwasher, really kind of finishing up any work and making sure that I have a tiny pocket of time before my kids get home so I can kind of transition from work to mom. Whatever that routine looks like for you is going to be different all around, but having something that you're transitioning into work and then transitioning out of work, it's almost like a commute, even if you're working from home. And what that does is it sets you in a really good space and it grounds you to kind of transition your day from one thing to another. So how can we kind of practice this in daily life? Setting intentions is huge for the day. I always suggest thinking about your day for a few minutes in the night before, not every single little task that you have to accomplish, but big picture. So what does my day look like tomorrow? Where am I? Am I at home? Am I at the office? Am I in a meeting? Am I at my kid's school? Just to kind of wrap your head a little bit around what you're preparing for as you go into the day. Waking up even just 5 minutes before the kids and just not going right for your phone. You should have a pocket of time in the morning where you're not even looking at the phone. So if you're using your phone as an alarm clock, I suggest going old school and getting an actual alarm clock. Your body should be able to wake up for several minutes without checking the phone. I know that sounds hard, but I promise you it's a really good strategy to kind of get your day going without feeling that grip. If you're opening your eyes and looking at your phone right away, you're right away back into that space of work. So separating that and allowing that to be okay, and trusting yourself and your team and your organization enough to know that if you wake up at 7 and you don't look at your phone until 7:30, that's going to be fine. Some other techniques, I know you mentioned breath work, you mentioned mindfulness meditation, you mentioned gratitude. We didn't talk about it, but journaling is huge. Journaling all of these things: gratitude, intentions, gratefulness, acceptance. I know a lot of people are not feeling journaling, and that's okay. It's not like a Dear Diary kind of thing. It can just literally be notes, jotting down things so that you can kind of go back to that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I'm having a hard time feeling gratitude today. Let me go back to last week where I know I had some good stuff written down. So it's just a tool so that you can always have what you need available to you when you need it. I really encourage you all to find what works for you. Not all of the things I said are going to work, and I wouldn't suggest that you try all of them tomorrow. I would suggest picking one thing and really learning and understanding that, and using a little bit of habit stacking to kind of incorporate some of these things into your life. Living in the present and living more mindfully is hard, and it is a completely new way of thinking and approaching your life. However, there's so many benefits: less stress, more clarity, being able to really reconnect fully with the things in your life that you love, including work, but also being able to separate that when you need to. Thank you all so much. We're going to wrap up for today. As always, I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate you taking time out to listen to this. If anyone is interested in learning about working with me further, or interested in learning a little bit more about the coaching program that I have to offer for moms in executive leadership, please just shoot me a message and I'll send you my calendar link to book a call. And I look forward to seeing what you all choose for next week's topic. And I'm always here for questions. If anyone has anything at all, I would love to hear. So please reach out. Thank you all so much.